Now if I do something that I want to reverse, I can hit Apple Z and it'll bring that cut back. And essentially when I'm talking about Apple Z, that's called a quick key. I can also go up to here to edit and you have cut, which is Apple X, you have copy, which is Apple C, you have paste, which is Apple V as in Victor, and then you have the undo or redo, which is Apple Z. Okay, so those are some really nice quick keys, and it's like that in Microsoft Word, and a lot of most programs have those quick keys or those similar editing features. Okay, so that's my marquee tool. Now, right underneath the marquee tool is what's called the lasso tool, and if I click on that and hold it down, I have 3 different lasso tools. I have the regular lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool. And what that does is it allows me to select a specific area that I can start to cut things out. With the regular marquee, I only have the option of a rectangle or a circle, but with my lasso tool, I can start to come in here and make cut things out that are a little more organic. Now, if right down here on the bottom right is my zoom tool, and so if I really want to, I can really zoom in here and get very specific about what I'm cutting out. So I personally like the polygonal lasso tool, and what that does is if I click, it makes these straight line segments. So every time I click, it makes a point, and so now it makes just these straight line segments. So it's a little more easy to control. So I suggest using this one over the others, and I can start to come and make these really specific selections. And again, each time I click, it's going to make a point, and then it gives me these little line segments, and then I could go around things. Okay, and that's your polygonal lasso tool. The regular lasso tool is more of a free hand. So if you have a steady hand, you can use that one. And then the magnetic lasso tool is a little it's a little bit I don't know, it's kind of unwieldy. It kind of likes to do its own thing, and what that does is as you go around the edge, it will kind of follow the outer edge. It doesn't always work that great though, so that's kind of up to you if you want to use that. So another quick key that I want to tell you about is when I'm zoomed in real close like this, if I hit Apple 0, that's going to fit to screen, and that's going to be under View, under your pull-down windows. There's a fit to screen, and there's another one that I like to use a lot that's called Actual Pixels. So it makes it'll show you at 100% what your image looks like, and that's Alt Apple 0, and that's going to take me to 100%, or Apple 0, which makes it makes your thing fit to screen, makes your workspace fit to screen. I use those quite a bit. And the other one I use quite a bit is when I'm selecting things. Apple D is deselect, and that's going to be under your select pull-down window. There's a deselect or Apple D. Now on a PC, instead of using Apple, you use Control. So depending on whether you have a Mac or a PC, you're either going to use the Apple or the Control button. Okay, and so essentially that's what you're going to do. Is you're going to start to make your collage, you're going to cut and paste things. So as I select, I can cut and paste, and I can start to move these things around and start collaging my image. And again, you're going to want to use several images. To do what you want to do. And always make sure you're on the right layer. Okay. When you're having a hard time or something's not working, always double check you're working on the right layer. Okay. Now there's another tool in here that you may find useful. It's a few tools down. It's called the eraser tool, and I can come in here. It's going to give me a circle, and right up here in right below my menu pull down, my menu pull down, you're going to see there's options. These give you options for your tools. Now, depending on what tool I'm on, it's going to give me different options for every tool right here. And it's going to be right below the drop-down menus. For my eraser tool, it's actually what we call a paintbrush. And if you just click here, it's going to give you can change the pixel radius of your paintbrush. So you can make it bigger or smaller, and you can pick the kind of brush you want. Some of them are more feathery, some of them are more solid, and you just get a whole different selection. There's tons of selections of different kinds of brushes you can use. Okay, so now the eraser tool, you want to make sure your brush diameter is big enough that you can see it. And so you want to select the proper or the correct layer to be on, and then with this eraser tool I can actually come in here and start to erase edges. Okay, and depending on the brush, if I have a softer brush, it'll erase less. If I have a harder brush, it'll erase more. But you just click and you just drag over that image, and you can start to erase edges, which is kind of nice when you want to start cleaning things up. Okay. There's one more palette, or one more thing I want to talk about in terms of palettes. If you are using, I believe Photoshop 6 or 7 started using what's called customizable palettes, and what that means is each of these palettes has a tab. I can click on that tab and drag it, and I can break up these palettes, and I can take this tab, and if I bring it right up here next to this other tab, I can start to combine these palettes, and instead of having to have all these palettes open, I can have a customizable palette. It just helps clean up my work area. The palettes that I suggest that you use, obviously your layers palette. There's a history palette, which is nice. Oh, I just closed it. And the history palette, it'll keep a running history of everything you've done, so you can kind of go back steps. If you did something you didn't like, you can go into the history palette and undo it. Now keep in mind, it only saves so many steps, maybe like 20 or 25 steps, and then after that you're out of luck. But this is a really nice palette to have open. I like to have my characters palette open. Okay, in Photoshop, it has you can type in text and whatnot, which is going to be the T tool. Okay, and you can come in here and you can start using text. Okay, which is nice. I usually have that open, and so now those are usually the 4. Let me just look. Those are the 4 that I would suggest. The layers, history, character, and paragraph palettes. I keep all of those open. Sometimes I'll use the color palette as well, so I might throw that in there as well. But and you can kind of keep them all together like that. It's kind of nice. So that should get you started in Photoshop. Don't be afraid to experiment and try other things that I haven't shown you. There's a help pull down up here, which is always nice. There's plenty of tutorials online. So good luck.